Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at another devblog, and this is once again for a new location, the Franz Josef Land. But also, they're adding some new mechanics to the game in the form of these locations. This is a naval battle location, and basically it's going to be part of some of the northernmost fighting that we have in War Thunder. There isn't a lot going on there, apart from there's a few military bases, 2 polar stations, as well as a few abandoned villages. But what this map offers is something slightly different. All the stuff that I've said before in this video, you could probably relate to a million other maps, which are in naval. Desolate landscape, random islands for cover, and then little bits of, a little bit of civilization in the form of outposts or villages. But what Franz Josef Land brings along is these new fortification mechanics. Now, we're going to have to test these out when it comes to the dev server, when it's out, and also on the live server. But basically, it says, in the dominance mode for this location, we plan to add fortifications with a different set of weapons that provide fire support for bases. Destruction of such fortifications will grant players additional points. We want to make naval battles more varied and dynamic, and we're interested in your opinion on the new gameplay option. So they're adding coastal defenses to different areas. It looks like the coastal defenses themselves are based around pretty large guns, mainly stuff like 203s. There might be some 152s, maybe some 5-inch guns, who knows? We'll have to see when it comes in. They only have one picture of one of the larger turrets, which looks very close to Scharnhorsts. So another thing to also note in these areas is the fact that these turrets have been in the files for an incredibly long time. They have actually been used in other areas, but they've never actually been AI controlled. So this is the first time we're going to be seeing a setup like that in War Thunder. Now, hopefully, that means that this kind of adds more, I suppose, dynamic gameplay to different areas of the game. One of the things that Naval is always criticized for is kind of a slow, meandering gameplay, especially in realistic, but the way to quicken that up is to add more objectives and also add more stuff going in, and this would technically be more objectives as long as they cost SP to kill. I like the idea of having more AI elements in matches. If you have a look at Realistic, it's one of the things I've added over the last few years, especially with stuff like EC and also in Simulator. One of the things that they removed from matches is actually in Ground. They removed a lot of AI elements over the years. If any of you have been around for as a decent amount of time, you remember the original version of Kursk, which had not just an AI tank battle going on, but it also had access to a set of AAs, which was sat around the place, and kind of, would shoot at enemy aircraft. They were also super easy kills most of the time. So they've dabbled with AI elements over and over again when it comes to map design in all of the different modes, even going to the illustrious D point on good old Carpathians, when you would have what would be classed as kind of a supply drop, which would come down onto the map, and then you would go and capture it, which was kind of interesting. So they've always tried to innovate, basically taking the core gameplay of conquest, domination, and battle, and trying to expand upon it in different little game modes. And here you can see one of those expansions. You can see them taking the dominance mode, which is the 3-cap mode, and going, okay, what can we do to kind of add on top of this? Well, let's add more AI elements, let's add some more AI guns, and see what happens. And for me, I think this is pretty cool. One of the issues I can definitely see happening with something like this, though, is the accuracy of these guns. If you, with some of these guns being like 2 or 3 millimeters or even higher, one of the problems you might run into is if you're in a destroyer or something and you're just wandering around and then the AI just absolutely pops you. Now, nowadays in War Thunder, the AI is not as laser accurate as it used to be, or as, brain dead as it used to be, depending on what day you caught it on. So at least there's that, which is going for it. But it is a consideration when looking into these things. You want the AI elements to be there for players to fight and have fun with, and kind of add a new level to the battlefield, so you feel like you are part of a larger picture instead of individual players, attacking different things. Make it actually feel like a proper battle in that way. But you also don't want the main factor which decides games to be the AI itself, which can be really bad. So you need to still keep with the idea that the player is the main character, but also you need a bunch of supportive elements around it to at least make it more interesting. And that's what they seem to be doing with Franz Josef Land. And also at the same time, these are usually the battlefields that I am personally the most happy with, where you have like this kind of enclosed area with a bunch of small islands. It basically means that coastal machines can be useful. There also seems to be some kind of oil refinery in one of the parts, and also a port, which is quite nice. So that means that coastal can be useful, and then blue water has like their open area which they can fight in and then push into. I hope that they start doing stuff where you get like 2 domination zones for the coastal area and then 2 domination zones for the blue water area, just so there is a reason to go in both, instead of just, rush cap with coastals, hope for the best, and then get into your blue water machines. But I've got a feeling that on this one they're probably just going to do the 3 cap thing, because that's what they've done forever. I feel like in Naval that's something that could also be experimented on with the domination idea, just adding a few more caps, maybe even, as I said, just 4 or 5, just to try and give it a little bit more, general tactical gameplay, just because of the fact that you have so much free space, which is in these maps, especially the larger ones. Why not try and use them in different ways? But I think this mechanic's really cool. I'm glad to see it. It's been in the waiting for a very long time. The signs were on the walls for stuff like this like 4 or 5 years ago, and now we are finally seeing them come to fruition. Let me know what you think about these types of mechanics. Let me know, actually, do you prefer to be like a player inside like an AI match in that way, or do you prefer basically just players on players? As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Millie Draper, Juan the Panda, Nick R. Cupila, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie B. Young, Peter Grayling, Jerry Provolt, Bareen, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, Derek R. and Lafouche for supporting the channel.